All right, we will call to order the library trustees meeting April 12th at 6:15. And did everybody get last month's minutes?
Yes, I'm just looking at them once again.
Sure. There we go. Yeah, I'm pulling it up too. I don't think I had any. Yeah, I think everything looks good on for me. Does anybody else have any questions, concerns, comments about last month's minutes?
I don't, I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, then I will move to accept them as submitted.
I second. Oh, okay.
Linda seconds. All right.
Just trying to help her because I know she's writing.
Yeah, a roll call vote to accept them. Lynette Wheeler, I vote in favor of accepting. Linda Yates,
I accept.
Beth Christensen.
I accept.
All right. Approved as submitted unanimously. All right, and we move on to Bob's report. There is one typo, Bob.
Okay,
I have to pull it back up. There's an extra the.
Lava,
At the end. No, at the end of it. Hold on, which one is it? It is on the I will attend the insurance committee meeting on April 14th, period, the.
oh,
Copy and paste.
period, the. I don't know. Not sure what happened there.
So if you want to delete that and then resend it to Linda. So have you been posting the director's report to the,
I have, and I have it in a Word document, so I'll just fix it. You don't have to.
okay. So
Oh,
then
thanks, Linda.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's easy. That's an easy fix. I didn't know if he had to fix it or not, but all right.
All
So
right,
you're gonna be in the paper, huh?
yeah, I'm big time. I had to write it myself, so. Then I had to take my own picture to go with it.
Oh,
But it's kind of a nice thing that they're doing so that, people can get to know the town officials, a little bit about them.
yep.
It was just a few hundred words. So we try to work with the Powder House News. It's just sometimes the timing of whatever programming we're doing doesn't really, because they come out every couple of months. So it doesn't always meet their publication schedule. So lately I've just been writing something that's kind of informational about, what's happening at the library, as opposed to any specific upcoming program. We did get the second half of our state aid monies, always good thing. And so I think this is the highest total dollar amount that we have gotten since I've been here. So that was good news, given, state funding was questionable a little bit during COVID, what the shakeout was going to be. They did hire, we've been having a cleaning company come to clean the library. It's the same company that is used by the town for the town offices. So they've been coming once a week to do the cleaning. And they have hired another custodian who will be handling the library. He started yesterday, I guess. Unfortunately, they lost a person or two more at the highway, so they're really, every time they get up to full staffing, they lose somebody. But anyway, that person will be working with him, and he'll be handling the cleaning duties and other custodial type duties here at the library. I haven't met him yet, but he's supposed to be at the library this Friday. So hopefully I'll meet him soon. We had a department heads meeting today. The town administrator, Margaret, is informed us that she's leaving.
Oh,
She's going to be retiring. in
goodness.
June. She's been at home with a medical leave. She is working now. I don't know if she's up to full time. But I think I don't know how many, I don't think she would have retired if it weren't for the medical
Mhm.
issue. But in any case, I just want to let you all know.
Wow, those are some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
She was great, and
Yeah.
it's the first town administrator, that they've had here in Berlin, and right now there's a real lack of people getting into municipal government work. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it will be difficult to replace it, but hopefully we'll be fortunate and get someone soon.
Did she say when she's retiring?
End of June. So maybe a few people knew, but I didn't know that until we met this morning.
Mhm.
She just announced it at the end of the meeting that she was going to be
Mhm.
leaving. So, I think her recovery is going well.
Good.
Yeah. So,
That's good at least.
yeah. So I think does anybody have any questions about the report?
No.
No. Nope.
All right.
At least we've got a date on the books for the book sale. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully that's going to work out. They were waiting to hear about the plant sale
Mhm.
that the church does. I think maybe they're aware by now. I think the 4th is a done deal,
Okay.
as far as I know. I think they sometimes try to make the timing of it so that it corresponds with other things that are happening, so that if people will just see the signage for the book sale and
Right.
Come on
just
over and peruse.
Yeah, we try to get the word out as much as we can. Right now, this is the first time in 2 years that they've actually put the word out that they're looking for books. So, as we've been turning people away for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So we did have a bit of an onslaught of donated books. We do have a policy regarding what we're looking for
Mhm.
in donated books, but I don't know if too many people are interested in reading it, but based on what we get. But anyway, so we're moving forward, getting back to some normal activity.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Good. So I see that you're hoping to have another library page soon, starting soon. How many do we have now? I know I've probably
we have
asked this like 5
2.
times.
We have 2, and we have one who's working on the paperwork, which is
Okay.
onerous paperwork.
Orders
Um,
paperwork. I will officially say the paperwork is no joke Okay.
Yeah,
because it's
Yeah.
my kid.
Oh,
yeah.
So the hang up right now is on the paperwork. It says because she's a town employee, she has to have a physical. So I put in a call to her doctor, and she is on a cancel list. So if someone calls, because right now she can't get in for a physical.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I forget what date they gave me. It was like May 17th or 18th, something like that.
Well, can't
But-
you use
And
past years?
normally when we hire a minor, there's a form that the doctor can just sign to say that the
Right,
that the
that's what I
person's
thought.
in good health. But
Yeah.
We could
the
just
town
can I just give you the
the
form?
town instituted something. Margaret instituted this and in cooperation with the select board, that every person that was hired in the town had to go to an independent, like they have a physician, not your own physician, but a physician hired by the town. And our,
Okay.
whatever department hires the person has to pay for this person to have a physical. And I tried to debate this a little bit because,
Wow.
some of these positions are like, very, very
Expensive.
minimal. And a person's not gonna want to go have a physical just so they can work a couple of hours here and there.
Yeah,
So-
so her doctor's
Yeah,
office
but
told
it's
me,
kind of a liability issue for the town or something, I don't know.
yeah,
But
her
it's-
doctor's office told me that I should be able to just submit her physical form because she just had
Yeah.
a physical in
Yeah.
January.
Okay, yeah, you should be able to. I
And
would
then
I would go
I
with
wasn't
that,
sure, so
Lynette.
they made the appointment, but you know what? I'll just print the physical form and we'll just
Yeah. Is
use
there
that.
did someone in the town tell you that she would have to have a physical?
No, when I remember I stopped and I spoke to you in the library parking lot
Yes,
about it.
yes,
I was like, because it said the form had to be signed by the doctor, and on the
Yes.
form it says that I examined the person. So I read the form over the phone to the secretary at the doctor's office,
oh, okay, all right,
and she said that yes, that she knows that that has happened for town officials, but not usually pediatric patients. So
exactly, yeah, yeah.
she thought that I could just use the form that we
Mhm.
use for like school sports and
Mhm.
everything else.
Yes,
She's in good health.
yes,
So
yes,
I will
that's,
then, I'll do that. I'll keep the appointment just in case. And then
Sure.
I turn all that in and someone in the town has something to say. Once I turn in all the paperwork, we can
Yeah.
tell them that she has an appointment
what
scheduled.
happens is
Just
you
had
give
one in
the,
January.
when you give the paperwork to me, I copy everything and then I give it to Dennis. I make sure everything is there. I have a checklist.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then I give it to the treasurer. And then, he lets me know if there's anything missing or whatever, and he will let me know when the person can start. So we'll say, what's your start date? So we usually just try to guesstimate when the person can start.
Okay.
All right. And so then we'll be up to 3, Beth, and we'll be
Nice.
looking to hire. We do have other applications from people, so
Oh, that's so
Um,
exciting.
yeah. It's, again, when we had the 4 pages, a lot of the time we didn't always have 4 because we're always going through this thing, where,
Mm.
you have one for a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years, but then they move on. So it's
Sure.
just a constant process. When we have
Mhm.
4, they worked very specific days and hours. But we haven't been doing that the last 2 years. We've just been having people work when we need them, when they're available, when they
Sure.
don't have baseball practice. There's all kinds of
Competition.
issues, but we do like having them. They are a voice for the youth of the
Sure.
town, so they give us a lot of good feedback and all that. So
And Bob,
and it's
how
good
old
for
do they
them to
have?
get a little bit of job experience doing something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
How old do they have to be?
14.
14. Okay. Nice. All right. Perfect.
So it's
Great.
it's always, since I've been here, it's always been a student,
Mhm.
high school student.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of my 13-year-old, but
We
I thought
have
you
had people outside of that apply. I
Mhm.
try to explain to them that it's only a 2-hour week job. So,
yeah,
you know,
that's kind of tough.
yeah, exactly. So it's good for someone that's never worked before and,
Right.
yeah,
Don't have a lot of time.
don't have a lot of time, no skills required.
Right.
I know, specific like job skills required.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you got to know the alphabet.
yeah,
Yeah.
that helps. That helps.
I would hope
To be
so.
able to put things
That
in
is-
ABC order.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
you're right.
It
That's
helps if you've
probably,
been in a library and you know how to find a book because you got to be able to put the books back in the right place.
yeah. And if you know the Dewey Decimal System, you're way ahead too. But we can give you that training when you get here. So,
Oh, good. On the job
Yeah.
training is always great.
yeah, because their primary job is shelving books. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
My internet connection is not well.
uh-oh.
I will hold on and keep going, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know if I freeze or get cut off.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm gonna keep going, but I'm hoping it'll stay. It might just be kind of in and out right now.
All right.
Mhm. All right, so I think this looks good. Anybody else have questions?
You good? All right, I will move to accept the director's report as submitted.
I will second.
All right, a roll call vote to accept it as submitted. Lynette Wheeler, I accept it. Linda Yates,
I accept.
Beth Christensen.
I accept.
All right, approved. We approve to accept it as submitted unanimously. All right, and the financial report.
Okay. Our spending is tracking well. I haven't received the latest ledger. The last one I received was through the end of January. So that's pretty up to date, although we're, midway through April now. So the rest of the year is kind of critical, the last 3 months, to make sure that we spend the proper amounts. And so I'll be keeping a closer watch and getting more updates from the town accountant to make sure that we do. One thing I wanted to talk about just in advance of us talking about the building is if you look at the summary part of the spreadsheet at the bottom, you can see something called town articles. Is everybody familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 4 of them at this point. One of them is very old, back to 2006. That's money that we have and we've spent with an accounting firm to come up with those designs and other design ideas.
Okay.
That you saw in the material that I sent you, the minutes of the meetings that we had with them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have this Library Designs Grant, DEP.
Yep.
This money is what I talked about. If we apply for a grant and we get funds from the state, this would be the town's kind of contribution to doing a full construction plan, which would be the first part of, if we got accepted as part of the state aid for construction in that program, which has no real funding right now. The funding they granted for this year was used for all the libraries that were on waiting list who had been given grants, but they had no money. So, so hopefully within a year or two.
Hold on. Well, excuse. You can keep talking, but I'm just gonna mute myself for a second. Sorry.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And then the other 2 articles are for things called general repairs. So some of the things that I mentioned in the director report, the new air conditioner that we're looking to get, the painting, those would come from those funds, or anything else around the library that breaks. I mean, if it's something very major, then the town will, pay for that. But just general repairs, we have some funds for doing that. So those are all of our capital items. So I just wanted to mention that just in case you weren't aware. We had at one time we had many more of those, but we've given a lot of them were partly used. We did the project and then we give them money, and any money that's left over back to the town. And when you get this money, it's very specific, like it can't be used for other things. So if it says that it's for air conditioners, you can't use it to do something else. It has to be used for that item. So, and
Robert.
I think unless you have questions, as far as financials, that's all I got to say. Yeah,
Okay, that's your story. You're sticking to it.
that's it.
Does Robert have any questions?
I mean, I could go on and on, but
Robert, you all set? We're good?
All right.
The first one was Thomas, the second one was Robert.
I can tell them apart.
All
Yeah,
right. As long as they approve my report, we're
yeah,
good to go.
then we're good.
All right. Gives a thumbs up.
Thumbs
guess
up
you're
or
good.
down?
He's a trustee in training.
He is, he's a trustee in training.
All right, then I will move to accept the report as submitted.
I second it.
All right, a roll call vote. Lynette Wheeler. I approve. Linda Yates.
Yes, I approve.
Beth Christensen.
I approve.
All right, accepted as submitted
Approved.
unanimously.
Robert approves, we're good.
Perfect. Want to check with the dogs? Dog status?
Could you hear them?
All right.
That's like a stampede in my house.
All right.
I call it a zoo for a reason.
Right. All right. So we will move into old business. Now that everyone's kind of had a chance to look at the past minutes from other long range planning meetings, and see the plans that were submitted for the, or a proposed renovation. We can open that up for discussion if you guys have some questions or
Yeah, if you had a chance to
Question.
read everything, is there
Mhm.
anything that really struck you that you couldn't wrap your head around, or did it seem pretty clear what was going on?
Good.
Anyone?
I think
I
it
mean-
was, I mean, the meeting minutes are easy to understand,
It was-
Yeah.
you know, especially for the ones that I was at.
That always helps. Well, sometimes, yeah,
before
or
I
not,
was
maybe,
trustee.
yeah.
Um,
No, I just asked that because it can be kind of hard to follow. And a lot of the discussion has, gone on in the past. It's just, things change. So.
Right.
Yeah, I
um,
was wondering if the town of Berlin has adopted the CPA, the Community Preservation Act for the grant. Do you know if we?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, just curious about that because a lot of towns have.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're not a historical district. I don't, so.
I'm
So-
pulling them up now so I can look at them again. I looked at them when you sent them over, but that was,
A while
not
ago,
today,
yeah,
not right now. So.
right. I know I hadn't,
Going on
I-
in this-
I had pretty much put that on the back burner since there wasn't anything that we could
Right.
move forward with,
I mean,
especially during the COVID and everything.
it didn't.
Right.
It didn't look to me, excuse me, as though there was anything really in the way, except of course for the financial piece.
Right.
But that
Yeah, that's why I did get into a discussion a little bit about the foundation, just as a way of trying to raise. I think I sent you a link to, I forget which library,
yeah,
Marlboro maybe, or was
I
it
thought it was Boylston, wasn't it Boylston?
hold on. It was,
I thought.
Boylston has a foundation.
I remember
The one
hearing.
that,
you sent us the link to the one in Sharon.
yeah,
Oh,
Sharon, I thought had just a good explanation of a foundation, like how they work and how theirs is working to help to fund their proposed, or actually their new, it was a new library building, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think they built a new
yeah.
building.
So,
Is
I
that
mean,
the one that's similar to ours?
yeah, say like Marlboro is doing a renovation right now, and
Mhm.
it's an $18 million project.
Oh my gosh.
And they're
Marlboro's huge.
not even getting half of that from the state. So
Wow.
their foundation, it doesn't look like it's raised even $1 million, but it's
Wow.
still significant,
Mhm.
And then if someone,
Well,
if a large donor does come along, or what the
Right.
foundation actually works to go out and try to find donors.
Mhm.
So, you know, without the foundation in place, you you may not be able to avail yourself of funding that's out there. So,
So Bob,
anyway.
I didn't really look everything over, but as far as you know, like a foundation, like would we start that? Would someone else start that? Like how would that
Yeah,
happen?
it would have to be, I mean, you could be involved in it, but
Mhm.
that's the thing in a very small town like Berlin, it's hard to round up
Mhm.
all the people that you need, you know. And they do work with library friends groups, but they have a different mission. So, you
Okay,
know, they
Yeah.
kind of work together, but separate.
okay.
Kind of, I think if we wanted to
It's
see
a
if
lot
there
of
was-
work to get it started.
yeah,
You know,
that's,
normally
I
you
think
try
that,
to, if you find the right people who
Mhm.
know how to draw up the
Right.
everything, and it
Margaret.
has to be you know, filed as a nonprofit with the state. But if you find someone who's done it and knows how to do it,
Yeah.
then they could just do it. You
yeah,
know?
we
Yeah.
could have, Bob tried to do it one other time, but we, as the trustees and the Friends of the Library, we could put on an informational little get together about what a foundation is and see if there's any interest in another group starting it. But the foundation would technically be separate from the trustees and separate from the Friends of the Library.
It
Okay.
is, yeah.
All right,
Yeah, it's
gotcha.
It would be its own whole new thing.
They
Okay.
would.
So
Yeah.
we're kind of like giving them the idea and they run with it.
Yeah, it would seem to me, though, that there'd have to be some consensus about the plan, you know, agreement that this, you know,
Right.
that this is the
Yeah.
addition to
Yeah,
do,
the
Right.
library,
how much it's going to cost. This
Right.
is the architect's plan, all that stuff would have to come first, right?
yeah.
Set up a
Well,
fa-
not necessarily, but yeah.
No, we can
Yeah,
have
well, you're
foundation
right, Linda,
that
because
way.
you're trying to, you're trying to, this is what we need the money for with, you
Right.
know, so you have to, I
Right.
don't know if it would have to be a complete done deal.
Oh, yeah, no, but I just mean,
Right,
I
right.
have to
You'd
be
have to be able to articulate what you're going
Right.
for.
some
Yeah.
general agreement about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Even know who that would be. Would it be the town? Would it be
Right.
town
I don't know.
where the town would say,
I
yes,
mean, I don't know whether a foundation is doable, but in this town, but I mean, I know it's doable, but I just don't know. You know, I didn't get very much, I didn't make much headway. I did talk about library foundations at a coffee at one of the select board coffees. And I did leave paperwork in the town offices. So anybody perusing there, if they saw it and they had an interest, but
Bob, how
Anyway.
long ago did you try to do that?
oh, that was,
COVID.
I would say it's going on about 2 years.
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
I mean, I
Yeah.
was a trustee already when we first talked about it.
yeah.
Right. I mean, it was just an idea. I know
Mhm.
I mean, most public libraries have other forms of funding other than just the town
Yeah.
and maybe a friends group. A lot of them do. I mean, I would say a third or 2/3 maybe have other
Now, if
funding.
you had this foundation going, right? And then we got the library taken care of, let's just say, right? We're looking in the future, obviously. I mean, the foundation would still be there, correct? And
That's
still
right.
continuing on would be the plan. And what would we do with it then? I mean, would it be used for like renovations and just generally anything the library needs?
Just funding, just
Okay.
funding.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
the same
funding.
like the Library Friends Group raised money.
Yep.
And they do not have nonprofit status
Mhm.
because they think they're kind of below any amount of money
Yeah.
where they would get in trouble for, you know, because,
Sure.
you know, if you're raising large amounts of money, you really
Mhm.
need to have the nonprofit status. And no
Yep.
one, you know, people who are donating money want to be able to be tax, you know, donate to a
Right,
tax
right.
exempt.
Right.
So, you know, we kind of follow under the umbrella. When I need a tax exempt number, I use the town.
Yeah.
But the library friends do not want to do that as of yet. And, you know, I'm not going to push them. They do a lot of great stuff for us.
They do. They
I'm
do.
not pushing them to do anything they don't want to do.
Mhm. We're very grateful.
But
to
the
them.
foundation would have that status, and yeah.
So the foundation would have to have a charter of some kind.
Yeah,
And-
that's right.
And
Yeah.
a nonprofit status, do they have to apply for that, or? do
Yeah,
they-
first you apply to the state. That's, you know, you can find all of the, say, bylaws, and you can find templates for what you need to file with the state. I actually did it for the Clinton Friends Group, the Clinton Library Friends Group. I worked with them for about 10 years before I started here.
Mhm.
Just did volunteer work there. And anyway, and then the second part of it is you file with the federal for nonprofit status, and there's a fee involved in that.
You file with the federal government?
Yes, so it's a two-pronged. You have to do it both with the state and the federal.
And is that something that we would be capable of doing without the help of an expert? That process, first process?
Yeah, but it would just take a lot longer.
Okay. And
You
then,
said there's a fee. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Linda. I'm
I
sorry.
actually have a book here. I have some books on how to do it here in
Right.
the library.
I'm just trying to get a general sense of what the process is, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long while since I did it, but you know, you get all the paperwork. You can go on to, if you go on to the Massachusetts, .gov site, and you go to the Secretary of State, and then go to forming a nonprofit, it gives you all the information you need there, all the forms and everything.
Okay,
And then
so,
they have a database with all of the nonprofits. So you find other library friends groups or other library foundations who have filed for nonprofit status. You can look at their articles of incorporation and their bylaws, and you can say, oh, you could just pick and choose what, you know, because I mean, that it's a boilerplate thing. Is most of the items in there would be similar for all types of similar institutions.
so whose role is it to apply for non-profit status for the library?
That would, well, the
Well, I think
library, like I
the
said, it's a
library.
town entity, so we fall under the town's nonprofit. But at the Library Friends Group, that's up to them. Someone, their treasurer, whomever. I mean, they may be able to find an attorney or a tax accountant or somebody, or just anyone. But you know, if there's a local attorney wanted to do some pro bono work, then he could help. And you know,
So-
if he's done it before, it's like it's really not that much to it.
So this would be for the nonprofit status of the foundation?
Yes. Yeah.
Either way,
Separate
it's
from-
you know,
It's
yeah.
totally separate from the library. It's its
yeah,
own
totally
thing.
separate from the library, totally separate from the Friends Group.
I get that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Just
So-
with
But you know, this is just like I said, the foundation was just an idea. You know, we didn't get very far, and I don't know if you know we can pursue it unless we, you know, get some knowledgeable people who would want to, you know, donate their time, volunteer their time.
right. But
I
if
wonder, I
we
mean,
get the nonprofit status
Yeah.
of a foundation, then we'd be able, and then we have this plan. And I guess I still have a question about at what point do we say, okay, this is our plan, like what kind of approval has to happen? But once
Well,
we have,
first thing is we have to have the money to hire the architect to have an actual construction plan. All we have now is a conceptual plan so that we can show people, you know, we can show the public here. This is, you know, roughly, this is the idea of what we want to do. We want to make the building accessible, but we have to go out 13 feet. We have to add on to the building. Otherwise, we can't accomplish anything that we need to.
so
Now,
do you think that the plan that we have in place now,
yeah,
excuse me, would be what we would need in order to, once we have a nonprofit status for this foundation, to be able to go out and try to solicit people to join the foundation as
Yeah.
volunteers? So we don't need the architect plan yet.
Not necessarily.
That would be something that
I
could be
mean,
funded
you
through the
know, if
foundation.
once you had a foundation formed, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, you can meet with anybody anytime. So if you have, you know, if you have your pitch, if you have your pitch to the people who you're trying to raise money from, you just sit down with them and say, look, this is our buildings, 1928. We want to do this, that, and the other thing,
Mhm.
just to make this building accessible. And these are some of the steps we know we're going to have to take. The DEP at one time said, if you change the footprint of the building, then you won't be allowed. You'll have to fall. You'll have to. You won't be grandfathered. Right now, we're grandfathered in terms of our water needs. So, but they agreed that they would accept that
Extension.
in the scope of a renovation as opposed to an addition. Okay.
Yeah,
So is that making sense?
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So
So,
we have to cross all these T's. And,
right, I'm just trying to understand what the
The
sequence of events is that needs to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think I threw the foundation's kind of an outlier. I just, wanted to talk about other funding possibilities because, I
A lot of
mean,
money.
there won't be anything available from the state. So we can sit on our hands for a couple of years and wait for the state to have the money. We could go to the town and just ask them to fund the whole construction plan. But if we do that, then we're not going to get state money later,
Right.
So it's a conundrum
Were you going to say something?
as to what the next step should be.
Mhm.
It's, and it's, we know what we need to do roughly, a concept. We just got to get the architect together and get the construction. And then we got to find out how much it's going to cost to build it. And then we got to get, go out to bid and find some builders. And then we got to find a place where we can have a temporary library. So there's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
But this is where we're at right now.
If we were going to do a foundation, the very first step would be getting the interest and getting the group of people to commit to doing the foundation. Once we have that, we would then try for applying for this nonprofit. You wouldn't get a nonprofit for a foundation if we don't have people.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to.
We would need.
You have to have. You need to have the officers. Okay, you'd have to have a president, a secretary, a treasurer. You have, because you need people appointed in all these positions that are going to be. That's your foundation. These are the officers of it. So yeah, you would have meetings beforehand to establish that. But first, you got to get the people involved. So that's number one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Just from what I've discussed with people about a library foundation, the most common pushback that I've gotten from anyone I've talked to about wanting to be in a library foundation is people are uncomfortable asking for money. They don't want to fundraise. It's different when you have a bake sale or a book sale because you're offering something. You're not just asking for money. So that's the biggest thing that I've heard from people that are like, yeah, no, I don't want to do a foundation. I'll give you books to the library to sell, but they don't want to do the legwork of asking for just
understood.
money.
I mean, a lot of foundations, in larger towns, larger communities, larger organizations, they hire professional fundraisers, and that's what they do, and they're very comfortable and professional at doing it, as opposed to some volunteers. They just have a heart in the right place.
I think one of our challenges, and I think you mentioned it before, Bob, is just the size of our town. My very limited experience with this was working for a community hospital, excuse me, where we had a foundation. We had a development office. We had paid people who were paid to fundraise. They brought in a professional. But beyond that, it was my observation that the first thing that they did was they identified high worth people in the community.
Oh, sure.
After those people first to see if they would be interested in being on the foundation. Because
Yes.
the idea is if you get high worth people interested and committed to it and they want to be on the foundation, they know other high wealth or high worth people.
Sure.
Well,
And
they're
so
well connected. Yeah.
go to their friend and they can say, look, I'm donating $50,000. What do you say? You know,
Mhm.
I know you can do it. So,
Mhm.
so a lot of it is, it's these foundations, I think, are populated, at least in my experience through this hospital experience I had, they were
Mhm.
populated with people who had a lot of money and who knew people in the community who had a lot of money. They were all the movers and shakers in the community. It wasn't a big community, but
No,
you know,
but yeah.
car dealerships and people who, you know,
Mhm.
construction companies and things like that. And they all had ties to each other because they had business associations. And so that's how that worked. And so the bulk of the fundraising for the construction projects, now these were big, you know, $25 million projects, but it was, you get the high donors first, you get committed to it, and then you go out and you say, we've already raised
Right.
whatever towards our goal of whatever.
That
And
looks good.
then you go to the smaller people. You go to the people who, you know, want to contribute but don't have $50,000 or $100,000 to contribute, and you get them to help. So that's a lot different than a small town like this. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
No,
can't
I agree with you.
kind of a network.
I knew that was, I mean, that's a stumbling block for us in just about every area.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate, like even this building, you know, even with this, what we're proposing to make it functional and accessible, you know, it's still not like a modern building. So it's kind of a dilemma whether a new building isn't just better. But you know, when you have that attachment that people have to the building and to this part of town, then that's you know, that obviously has to be considered. You know,
Right.
the library building plan they had that failed in the town back in 2006. I believe it was 2006. That plan was right near the BMS. It was
Mhm.
all on one floor, so
Wow.
very accessible.
How much
And
was that project? How much did they,
the state was giving the town $1 million,
and then how much for the whole project?
$2 million,
For a whole building?
whole building. But
Well, it'd
that
be a
was in
brand new
2000.
building.
That was 18 years ago or
I mean,
more.
we're talking about a really.
They actually got the grant in 2003. They got
I know.
$1 million in 2003. So you know, almost
Wow.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
But they could have. We could be sitting in a new library right now, or and it lost by 12 votes.
Wow.
12 votes, and it needed a
I'm
two-thirds.
sorry I didn't go, Bob.
That's what.
It needed a 2/3 vote. So, and it lost by 12. The final time they voted on it.
Ugh. Wow,
So-
that's too bad because I would have been. a
I
good
wasn't
idea.
here then, but I mean, I just researched this. I
Yeah.
found newspaper stories about it, and I talked to a lot of people about it. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
What are your thoughts about the foundation? Do you think that's even worth exploring?
I don't know.
I was going to
I
ask
mean,
the same thing.
It doesn't mean we
Linda,
could.
if we got one person, you know,
Yep.
who
Yep.
actually knew a lot about this stuff, you know, had some money, had some time, loved libraries. I mean, that's a needle in a haystack, maybe. But if you had someone, then it would be that. Then it could start the ball rolling. That's all I was hoping for. I didn't mean to, you know. I just it is a real outlier, but I just want to mention it as a possibility and try to at least put the word out that it's something
Right.
that we could do. But I wasn't super hopeful that it would happen. All right, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
But
even know how we
hopefully,
get the word out.
but hopefully, Linda and Beth in particular being newer,
Hmm.
you feel like you have a better grasp on what we're dealing with,
Yeah,
or
no.
Yeah.
what we've been dealing
God.
with.
So kind of the choices are to ask the town for the money,
Yes,
the state funding, because we're not going to get state funding at least for another year,
exactly.
or wait till we can apply for the state funding. And then if we get the money, then ask for this town. But now we're talking about how many years? 3 years?
Could be. Well, if we ask the town, next year, we could put in an article.
Right, but I mean, if we had to wait for the state, Bob,
Yeah, we don't know at this
we
time.
don't even know.
We
if
don't
they-
know.
next year.
It used to be, Linda, every couple of years, they would start the process of another grant round. Our community is on the list of people who have shown an interest in applying. So
Yeah.
if there is another grant round, we'll be in the mix.
We'll
And
be-
now-
We'll be in the mix with a lot of other communities. And our project's very small compared to other communities that might be trying to build a whole new library.
We looked at this too, because I remember asking you if we were on the list. I think I screen shared last time. And I think
Yes.
the next round of grants I can't remember if it was 2024, 2025. Because they said the next round was going.
I think it was
Yeah.
2024. That sounds familiar.
Okay, yeah,
Because I remember you screen sharing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2 years from
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
that wasn't a
And then you
definite
still
though,
have to get
right?
the ball
It was
rolling
kind
from
of
there.
expected.
No,
that
it
was-
said
yeah.
they said that I think it said like we expect.
We
Yeah.
expect, yeah.
grants, yeah.
That's usually what they say, because they can never
They
say
just don't know.
100%, but yeah.
So, I mean, I don't mean to ask this question. I mean, it sounds bad, but I'm just curious.
Go ahead, Beth.
Oh, I hate to ask this. I mean, other than, I guess, having the access, I mean, I know the building's old, clearly. Are we able to keep up with any kind of like fixes or whatever? I mean, is there,
Yeah,
I mean, is
Well,
there a reason we can't wait? I mean, I hate to ask this,
right. Well,
But-
there are some things that have been delayed. For example, like the bathrooms, we'd like to
Mhm.
upgrade the sinks and, but the
Sure.
plumbing, we don't want to get started on the plumbing if we're going to do a renovation. So we've just been
Right,
doing
right.
fixes on everything, which is why I
Mhm.
have this general repair money.
Right,
Um,
right.
And same with the electrical,
Yeah.
I would
yeah.
like to get another air conditioner, but I'm hoping it'll work because, our electrical system, we did get a new electric box as part of the septic. We had
Yep.
to. So
Yep.
that was fortunate. So maybe, but I would say possibly the whole building has to be rewired, the heating system replaced,
Wow.
the plumbing.
Yeah.
And if we do renovate, there may be the opportunity to do all that stuff.
So, I mean, you're just kind of
If
basically
we're
just
gonna
doing
stay in
quick
this building,
fixes.
we're gonna have to do it eventually, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're just doing quick fixes right now, right?
Just doing fixes. I mean, we've done a roof, we've done
Yep.
windows, we've
Yep.
done a fire alarm system,
Yep.
things that have kept the place going. I mean, I'm gonna
Right.
want to do some painting,
Yep.
new air conditioners. We got one new air conditioner 2 years ago. So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have
Um,
to maintain it.
I
I
just
know.
looked it up
Oh, go ahead.
again, and the
Mhm.
construction grants, the last grants that went out, it just says the last round went out for people that were on waiting lists since 2017.
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
But there's no.
So they did fund,
date, it
I
just
think,
says-
all of those, yeah.
Yeah, it just says funding rounds are started on an irregular basis. Construction grants are offered on an irregular basis based on a number of factors, including state bond authorization and availability of funds throughout our annual capital budget. But there's
Yeah.
no there's no time frame on when they're going to do it again, and there's nowhere to
I
apply.
mean,
for a grant.
they will make a big
It has to be on
announcement
wait
when
list,
they
which
do,
we are.
when they do it for real, yeah.
And that was from the state website, Lynette?
It's
Yes.
from the MBLC,
MBLC.
mblc.state.ma.us.
Okay, the MBLC. There's no stated, so. the
Yeah, just look for a construction program.
I just Googled Massachusetts library construction grants.
There
and
you go, yeah.
That MBLC website.
I'm just gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
So
Mhm.
2024 really isn't accurate then.
Right.
No,
Lynette, I know you,
because I saw 24 towns are on a waiting list.
wow.
I just hate the fact that our
Yeah.
library is so
Antiquated.
inaccessible to
Yeah.
people with wheelchairs and other, I mean,
Right.
it's not right.
I know. It's sad. It's very sad. I mean, I'm concerned, like, I wonder too, and Bob and Lynette, you guys might be able to answer this too. So Bob, you talked about there was a plan to possibly do a new library over by the the school, sorry. Over
Yes,
by BMS,
yes.
and it was all on one floor. So how much larger would that library be? And if
Yeah.
you know, what would they do with this building?
They can't do
Uh,
anything with
Well,
this.
this building is,
A
this
lot.
building is like 3,000 square feet.
Mhm.
So it's like a
nice.
home. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, so I think what they would do most likely is sell the building.
No,
And
they
maybe
They can't sell the building.
they,
Yeah, no, I think it
they
was
can,
gifted or
I know
something.
I know it has a deed restriction, but that can be overcome.
Yeah, they have to ask
It's not like that's,
family
you
that
know, etched in stone.
Mhm.
The town knows how to contact the family, and they could negotiate with the family. It could definitely be worked out.
Yeah.
know the family too.
You're right, though. It does have a deed restriction, and it was stated that it would always be a library in the spot. But I've talked to Barry Yeager a little bit about it,
Mhm.
and yeah, this has happened in other communities too, where land was given, and then 100
Yeah.
years later, things changed. So
It's just, I mean, it's just too small,
yeah, yeah.
and it's not usable in a good way.
Yeah, that's
And
the toughest thing is
Mm-hmm.
trying to take this building and do the best you can with it. And you're spending
Right.
millions of dollars trying to do so. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to that if that's what people want. I just want to give
Right.
them the option that, it may make a lot more sense. And I don't know, I've heard that people had a lot of problems with the library being located there, but
Mhm.
it seems to me it's a good place.
I
And it's still
I think
there.
it makes
The
sense.
place where they were going to put the library is still there. We still
Right.
have the plan,
Mhm.
When
So-
I first started here 9 years ago, the construction person came to see me and visited me and said, "What are you doing? Is the town going to take this up again?" Or, because
Wow.
everything was still in place.
Where
Can I
where
ask a question?
on South Street were they going to put it?
They were going to put it, where the pond is?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so kind of at an angle to the pond next to the BMS, out in that area somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but
Can I ask a question, Bob?
yes,
So you've mentioned a few times, like through the financial report, that a lot of your purchases now are audio books and.
that's right. Yeah,
And I know that you have a current challenge with space when you're trying to bring in new books. You don't have room
yes.
for them, you're constantly culling them. I'm wondering, as a library professional, because I've read stuff that says that the future of libraries is not necessarily the paper-bound book,
Right.
as much as it is ebooks and online services and space for community. And
Right.
I know we have a community space already that is kind of nice because we don't have to worry about that piece of it. But
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that's how you see the future.
Well,
as I
it's
think-
been a long time. It took a decade or more to kind of see what the shakeout would be. You know, a lot of people's opinion when ebooks became prevalent and started, you know, being more easily accessible through libraries, was that you don't need print material anymore. But there's a few studies. There are a lot of studies done on this, and the average person reads ebooks, but they read more print titles. They enjoy reading print titles more. They read more of them, but that doesn't mean they don't read ebooks. I mean, and then of course you do have people who never come to the library. They get their library card number and they're gone. Maybe they just do audiobooks. Maybe they drop. Maybe they're on the road.
So it's probably
So it's perfect. That would be perfect for them. You know. So
demographic.
the rise in our circulation has continued to rise mostly due to the ebooks.
Yeah.
Our print titles are still circulating well, but it's inching down. Ebooks are inching up.
Yeah.
For a while, it was very precipitous. For a while, the ebooks were just like doubling every year.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of leveling out. So.
I wonder too if the demographics, I'm thinking of the future generation, that is so much an online generation and an electronic generation.
Right.
You know, and those
we do get calls on a regular basis for people looking for a meeting room.
Yeah, but just to finish my thought, I mean, you talk
sure.
about like the future patron is going to be someone who's a millennial now, or even whatever comes after millennials. I don't know what those people are called, but anyway, those people, I mean, I know like my kids and my daughter-in-law, they never read paper books ever. Unless I give them one for Christmas, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah." But you know, they all have Kindles or whatever they have their. They read ebooks, and so I'm just kind of. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing anything, because clearly our library doesn't meet even the basic needs of our current community as far as access goes and some space. But if you're thinking about the future, and you're talking about building a new library, the question really is that what we need? I don't know.
Depends too also on how much is the town going to grow. So there are studies out there, population for, sorry?
So it's already started to. Sorry,
I saw something in the materials that said 4,000 people by, I don't know, it's like really far away. And I was like, what? We're 3,000 now. How are we going to?
There is a study done by UMass that has all of central Massachusetts towns and how much they're planning to grow.
I just remember not being terribly impressed that it wasn't going to grow more. I thought for sure it would be. This is such a great town and the location's so good and so beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
When I started here, I think we were at 27 or 2,800. And we're now about 3,200.
Right. Oh, here it is. It's right here. Growth in the coming years estimated to be up to 4,000 residents by the year 2049. That just doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah.
2049. I'll be dead by then. I mean, that's a really long time from now. That's like
now we're going to be a small town. Even if we grow twice as much, even if we're up to 8,000, we're still small. In comparison to other towns around us, we're really small.
Yeah.
I mean, Bolton's about 5,000. Boylston, I don't know. They're a little bit more than that. Clinton is 13. Hudson is the biggest town around here, is 20,000.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just.
But we're surrounded by towns, you know, much larger towns for the most part.
So I'm thinking, really small town doesn't sound like there's going to be a lot of growth, which I'm having trouble thinking, but that's what the thing says.
Right.
And
but you know, the longer you wait to do it, I mean, this building, it already served in 90 years.
I'm not saying we should wait. I'm not saying we should wait. I'm just questioning whether a new building is really what we need.
Right. Because I think if you just look to the recent past, if we had built that new library, we'd be sitting in a new library. I mean, this building, whatever it is, it can be.
Yeah.
I think it would make a nice residence if you know, obviously it would take a ton of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I-
not suggesting that we wait. I think the situation's dire. It's terrible. We're spending
Right.
money repairing stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's wasted money, really.
I
And
mean,
and it's-
I would despair, but when I look around, there's so many communities that are in the exact same, not exactly the same as us. We have some problems that they don't have, but I mean, a lot of communities, they have water. So having piped water is a big plus. But, you know, a lot of communities have these older buildings and you know, they're grandfathered in. So
yeah,
they really, it's tough.
I mean,
to,
what I've seen is they add on to their old buildings.
yes, yeah.
But
They practically add a new building onto the old building.
right. And a lot of them have all of this meeting space and community space. And
Yeah.
really, with 19 Carter right across the street,
Right.
we don't need to worry about that. You know, I mean, it's free to
And the
all.
1870 as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have space in the town for
Yep.
those kinds of activities. So,
Right.
so, you know, that's just sort of my opinion. And then I look at the trends and you know, the demographics and the newer generations and what they're going to be wanting.
Mhm.
You know, and maybe some of the space that's taken up by books right now will be taken up by computer terminals and things that people will use in the future to access information and read.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think
honestly, Linda, people were saying that 10 years ago, and
yeah.
but and it's true to a certain extent, but not to the same extent that a lot of people thought.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I think
that's interesting. Younger people, they do. I mean, my own daughter, she never reads a book. You know, she does a lot of reading, but she doesn't pick up. She does occasionally. Just it's rare.
yeah, a lot of my friends read,
and a lot of people are like that. But I know other people. I know other youth her age, and they do read print titles. You know, so it's pretty well divided. Yeah. The general population is still reading more print titles than they are ebooks.
Well, it's to me like that our first step is really to come to some kind of consensus about what we want to recommend.
Yeah.
You know, are we talking about an addition? Are we talking about or a renovation? Or are we talking about a new building? I think that's the first question before we go anywhere.
Well, I've been leaning toward the renovation simply because we're going to remain a fairly small town. I mean, well, a very small town, but I mean, population growth is not going to be to the extent that we could really fight for a new building. And I don't think the community has the will for it. That's just a, you know, just from being here for 9 years and having talked about this, you know, the whole time.
So it's something that's doable that we feel is at
But
least,
I think the renovation is the least we can do is to make the place better. And the DEP have agreed to allow us to go out 13 feet to make the place better. They can see that we're not trying to, you know, we're not trying to subvert any rules or anything. We're just simply trying to make a better library with what work better with what we've got. So
yeah, I've had tons of conversations with lots of people about it. You know, the renovation versus a new building somewhere else. And you know, when you think about it from like a budget friendly perspective, like you were saying, well, does it make sense to spend $2 million to renovate this building versus spending, just for numbers sake, $6 million to build a new building? You see $6 million versus $2 million, and they go, oh, the $2 million, but we're spending $2 million on a building that's almost 100 years old.
Right. I know.
The construction like the construction itself might cost $2 million, but what about everything else we've run into with the construction? And then, you know, it's going to obviously require more upkeep than getting a new building. But anytime I've talked about this with anyone, I get the same thing. They love our library because it's small, quaint,
I was just gonna
They
ask
don't
that.
want to spend the money. They would
Yeah.
rather still spend the renovation money, because if they want to go to a big library, they'll go to Hudson.
They'll go
And
next door. Yeah.
that breaks my heart, because like I like to remain loyal to my Berlin
Of course,
library.
of
But
course.
they're like,
Well, you know, the town
so many
still
people are like, we already
has
have
to
it.
carry its
We
weight
need
in
it.
order to keep us certified and part of our network and all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
But you know, it is based on population. So
Yeah.
any of our patrons can feel free to go to any other library
Yeah.
in the whole state, not just our network. That's just the beauty of our library system.
Yeah, but that, I mean, I've maybe gotten 2 or 3 people that would prefer a new library versus just renovating this one. So many people like the location of it, and they love the aesthetic of it. You know what I mean?
That's actually what I was wondering is, do you think that people would be more willing, I guess, to go with a renovation because of the fact that we are a small town? We don't want this big, I don't know, contemporary, let's just say big contemporary library in this old town. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's part of it.
The thing with that is, no matter, like, if we were going to choose to build a new building and we brought in an architect to draw something up for us, I personally, I don't know if the trustees have a say in it or not, but I would voice my opinion that that building isn't going to be some modular, crazy looking thing. It's going to have the aesthetic of our town, and it's going to be country, and it's going to fit in. If we had a new building, it would fit in. It wouldn't be an eyesore, and it certainly wouldn't be huge. It wouldn't be much bigger than what we have now. It'd just be on one floor and more accessible.
I still have the plan. You know, I have an entire notebook with all the plan in it, and also the big construction drawings are here at the library. So maybe sometime we can take a look at them. But that's the type of library that you're describing is what was planned. That's what.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be anything that wouldn't fit. That's one of the things about Berlin. Like when they tore down Uncle Ronnie's ice cream, and they put in the building that's there now. It's very country, you know, it's got the cupola with the weather vane on top.
Yep.
It's gonna fit the aesthetic of Berlin. They would not make some eyesore or something that you would expect to see in some posh city. It would be,
well, sometimes, you know, you get these people and they're like, oh, let's try something new. You know what I mean? Let's keep up with the Joneses, you know, so
not here.
You just never know. And, you know, and they talk like they're going to do it that way. Oh, no, it'll fit. It'll good. You know, it'll be good. So,
I have visited a few other libraries that did renovations with the former trustees. We went to Ashby, which has a very similar demographic. You drive into Ashby, it's the same, like they have the First Parish Church, just like it's the same. But anyway, they took their little old library and they just added on the Guggenheim in the back there. It was very controversial what they did, but it's very surprising. I don't, you know, you wonder how these things get done, but anyway, it can happen. But the plan that was made for this town, you know, it looks like a very reasonable constructed building that would be fully accessible. It would be close to the center of town. It would be near the school, which a lot of public libraries are. So, yeah.
I guess I have another question. So as far as I know, renovation and stuff, right? So I guess my question is, like, when they do the renovation, like in general, obviously, what are they going to do? Like, are they going to build new shelves? Are they going to do the whole thing, like bring it down to strip it down to nothing and start over kind of thing?
I screen shared it last time. You want me to pull it up?
Yeah, because I don't remember. I mean, I remember it vaguely.
All right.
And I remember I liked it.
I mean, they would have to obviously take everything out. Everything.
Yeah.
So the library would have to be temporarily relocated, probably to the 1870s.
Right, 1870, yep.
And so we wouldn't have our full collection necessarily available but we'd continue to operate as best we
Yeah.
could.
Sure.
This is, I mean, every library that's ever done a renovation or a new construction, they're doing this in Marlborough at the moment, so.
That's what they did, Sterling.
Yeah.
So I guess, where are we with this conversation? I'm just trying to.
I'm just pulling it up.
Nothing. That's
Thank
right.
you, Lynette. Appreciate this.
Yeah.
I know you pulled it up before.
So this is, hold on, let me go back and get the other one up. This one is the upstairs, I believe.
Yeah.
So, right, is this the upstairs, Bob, where your office is?
Yeah, that looks like the
Is the downstairs?
No,
no,
this
because that front part looked like the opening, like to get in. Yeah, and then remember the whole big children's thing down the bottom? Look, I'm pointing at it like you can see me.
Yeah, no. Well,
the
this
first,
is where you walk in.
right,
Right
yeah.
now, the desk is here, circulation, right, in Bob's office. And then about half of this is actually office. This right here is a restroom, if you can call it that. Like in England, they call it a wash closet. That's literally a wash closet. So this would be taken out and expanded. And then this is 2 bathrooms.
2 bathrooms.
This is the
Both
stairs
upstairs.
yeah. And then there's the stairs to go downstairs. So there, all the shelving would be in the perimeter. You know, very similar to how it is now. And there would be places for people to sit and work.
And what's that in the middle? Is that the little
circulation desk? This is a computer. That's a circulation desk.
Okay.
Better? So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
There's a chair here in the circulation desk.
Wow, nice.
So, and then how do I move it?
You gotta kind of move it, like grab it and move it.
Yeah, it's not working that way. But so then when these are the stairs. Right?
Yeah.
So this is.
I remember we talked about the stairs because right now they're very.
Yeah. Now, do you see how the stairs go now?
Yes. Yep.
That evens out, so it's not that steep.
Yep.
Down.
Yeah, because the stairs that are in there now are so steep.
There's when we were back upstairs, you saw both bathrooms were here.
Yeah.
On the upstairs, and then there was a blank space here. That's the elevator.
Okay.
Okay. So that right there next to the stairs is the elevator. This is the machine room downstairs. And then there's,
there's no room for bathrooms downstairs, just the upstairs.
All the bathrooms would all be upstairs.
Right. You have to have 2 bathrooms, but they don't have to be on the same floor.
Yeah, and they will both be accessible.
I was gonna say, are they accessible for,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it would change and make them accessible. So this here, this is all the addition.
Oh, all right.
So this is our main library. So that's why you would see the bathrooms being added and the elevator being added and the stairs being moved.
Is there going to be?
This is our original footprint.
Wow.
So you wouldn't even technically see this if we were looking at the building straight on. You wouldn't see it.
It would look the same.
It would look exact. It wouldn't change the aesthetic of the building at all.
Right.
There's an entrance in from the back like there is now, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the elevator, would they enter the building to use the elevator, or
what was that?
I'm sorry, would they enter the building to use the elevator, or is it accessible outside like some of the other ones in town?
You wouldn't want to open the elevator to the outside to the elements. That wouldn't be good.
Well, no, we have some like that in town. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, you'd have to go inside and get in and out of the elevator here.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
So yeah, that's.
I mean, it's definitely a nice plan, to renovate for sure. It's just a fact. I mean, I think about the fact that there is no elevator. The bathrooms are not accessible. Those stairs, oh my God, those stairs are awful. I'm sorry, Bob, they really are. And I know you didn't build them, but just in general.
Well, there are
'Cause
certain,
you're there, you know.
I mean, you
there
know,
are,
we did
there are
love
certain
carrying
requirements.
a kid
when-
down those stairs. It was great
Oh
to
my
carry
gosh.
an infant and have a toddler trying to
I
Can
hold.
you imagine?
It was awful.
I mean, I remember when I brought my
can
kids
imagine.
there.
I did
Yeah,
it.
right, me too. I did that and I was like, oh my goodness. And you know, my vision, if you guys don't realize, is not really the best. I have very, my depth perception isn't what it should be, but you know, so I get a little nervous going downstairs sometimes. So, yeah, you know, just knowing that for myself
Right.
is something, never mind, like Lynette said, you know, with a toddler and a baby and, you know, all of that. So
I
it
think
can
we,
be
I think if
daunting.
we can, I think if we can just think about how to proceed with whether we're going to wait for the state money or whether we're going to put an article forth with the town to try to move forward. Those, as far as I can tell right now, those are our only options.
Yeah. If we don't have to wait for the state, I mean, I think.
Right. But we have no idea when they're gonna do it.
We don't.
You know,
So-
it's just, it's too long.
There's no guarantee
I don't wanna
that
wait.
we would be accepted as part of the program.
Right.
They might say, well, we're going to favor some other town because they're building a large library with a meeting room and that's what we're really shooting for. And we don't have time for your little project,
Right.
even though ultimately it could cost a town a few $1 million. So,
I mean, personally, I think it's a safety issue, but whatever.
right.
We
You
should,
know, I mean,
So I think, why don't we think on that and
yeah.
take it up again next time?
but wait a minute, so I'm losing my voice.
I know, I can hear you, Linda.
It's really bad. Sorry, wait a minute, hold on.
No, I feel so bad for you. Poor Linda.
I know it's been 7 days already. I'm dying. Anyway. Would we be talking about town meeting?
Sorry?
Town meeting?
I don't think.
Yeah,
we
we're
have
talking about the town meeting.
I think
Town
I don't
meeting.
think we have time to talk about it at this town meeting.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, no, the town meeting is strictly reserved for all the articles on the warrant.
Mhm.
So if you're not on the warrant,
Okay.
the only thing that at the town meeting, we'll see if the library budget is approved.
So,
And
so
that's it.
do this at a different town meeting or how would that work?
No, if we wanted to ask the town for the money, we would just prepare an article. And that article will go on the warrant for the next town meeting.
Mhm.
And, so there's a process to the capital as well. So, we could try and get our article on there. First of all, the select board has to agree to put it on there.
Mhm.
And then the town would vote on it. So if we asked for $100,000 so we could do this construction plan as part of, I'm sure it would be a lively discussion. And we'd have to do some selling as to why we think that the town should foot the bill.
I'll help you out with that.
And if,
'Cause
and
The stairs.
yeah, and you'd probably, as a taxpayer, you'd be in there. But
Yep.
and so we'd have to have all of our ducks in a row and just explain. It's all the
Mhm.
things we've been talking about tonight, but we'd have to be able to articulate it in front of the town so that they, because there's going to be people that are going to say no, just flat out no.
So do we can we use what we have with the
The
estimate?
monies that we have is only if we're applying for the grant. So
No.
we would just
No,
give
see-
that.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No.
Go ahead.
She means the plans that we have. The plans that were drawn up and the estimate.
Yeah,
And
that's all we've got. What we're asking for money for is to do a construction plan. The
Right,
plan
so
that
we
we've
want-
got isn't really a plan, it's
It's
just
not
a,
yeah.
it's just
It's a rough
a
sketch.
concept. It's a
Yeah,
concept.
concept. So we
Um,
would need the money to get the plans drawn up. We would need the money,
Yeah.
obviously,
So you
for,
hire the architect to
everything.
make that
Yep.
concept plan a
Yep.
construction reality.
Mhm. So that's gonna
Mhm.
cost a lot of money too.
That could cost 100,000 is,
Yeah.
I've been told we could probably do it for a lot less, but
Mhm.
you know, you
So
don't
you want
want
it
to go
done right,
back and
though.
have to ask for more later. So
Right, right. There was something else I was gonna ask. and I
I
don't
heard
remember.
you.
Interrupt for a sec. I'm gonna have to leave. I'm coughing all the time.
oh, sorry, Linda.
That's okay. If
I
you
think
could just tell me
we're-
what to put in the
We'll
minutes.
adjourn. Let's just adjourn.
Yeah, we can adjourn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We
about
can
that time.
We can pick it back up.
7:35. It's a record.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
All right,
right,
roll call
and,
vote to adjourn. Lynette Wheeler, I
Yeah.
vote
We
yes.
all have a
Linda,
lot to think about.
Beth?
I
Okay, adjourned at 7:36 p.m. Bob, don't sign off after though. I just have a question for you when I